morning. Without the help and participation of good folks like this, we couldn't bring you the kind of excellent program we get at convention. I'm not going to sound like some PBS pledge drive. Let's thank Bauer Animal Health. Now, as we move on to our next speaker, we're reminded that our ranches and farms, they're much less isolated than we've been in the past. In fact, I like to tell people, you know, we're down on the farm, but that farm sure is closer to town than it used to be. And we have things like internet connections, and we have satellites, and we have cell phones. And Bill, I guess I get to be the heavy this morning and ask everybody, could you please silence your cell phones or put them on vibrate or whatever that is that you do with those so your neighbors can hear the program. You know, but even with all this technology, there's been a stable and continuous presence in the lives of agriculture since the 1920s, and that's been the farm broadcaster. Lindsay Hill, who is president of the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, was originally scheduled to join us but was called away. She sends her regrets but wishes for us the very best of a convention. So stepping in for Lindsay is NAFB Director Kyle Bauer. A 1980 Ag Economics graduate of Kansas State University, Kyle returned home to farm with his parents. Their Clay Center, Kansas operation includes wheat, corn, soybeans, sorghum, cattle, hogs on dry land and irrigated acres. Now that's America. In 1994, Kyle and other investors purchased KCLY radios in Clay Center and KFRM in 1996. Since then, they've built KFRM to the largest farm station in Kansas and northern Oklahoma by being the only full-time farm station in the nation. KFRM covers 120,000 square miles in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska, representing more than 64 million acres of agricultural land. Please welcome Kyle Bauer.
One thing you can count on is that farmers and ranchers are going to be up for the first session in the morning. I'm really proud of you all. And of course, we've all had our share of the caffeine this morning. We have a lot of things in common, us farm broadcasters, but if you think the agricultural industry is small, you ought to think about the farm broadcasting industry. There's 150 members nationwide. The entire organization with all the affiliate members only has 550. We've been around since 1945, that's 66 years. And on behalf of NAFB and our president, Lindsay Hill, I'd like to welcome you here and point out the things that we have in common with you. Now, of course, it's agriculture. We think about that. But the thing is I guess I'd like to help you understand how much we understand. We understand that many of you are not feeling good about being here right now. There's many industries that are glad to not be having to partake in the bad weather. They're glad to be here inside where it's nice and warm. We understand how many of you are anxious and worried that you're not at home. We understand that when you drive out on days like we saw 2 or 3 days ago, when the cattle are caked with snow and ice, and that you're worried about even the ends of their nose freezing across, that they may not be able to breathe. We understand that. We understand the loneliness of agriculture, and we understand that part of our job is to keep you company out there in your pickups and tractors and combines, and man, I wish horses had a radio. We understand that part too, but at least when you're on horseback, you're not alone because you at least have the horse to talk to. The loneliest place in the world that almost none of you will understand, the loneliest place in the world is a broadcast booth. You're talking to a wall or a microphone and you have absolutely nobody to talk to, but I guarantee you we see your faces when we're talking in the booth. We see your faces. And literally, when we train people at our station, we put up pictures of you on the wall. Because we are not your normal radio announcers where we don't try to yell at you. And we don't try to talk really fast because we know you're in a loud environment. It's not that you're slow listeners. It's just that we understand in that loud environment, we have to enunciate and say it slow so that you can understand it with all the distractions. So the point is I need you to know that we understand, and I need to remind you that we're on your side. And I need you to know that we are all in this together, and we're very happy to be in this together with you. I need you to know, though, that for 54 years, there has been a broadcaster here in Denver that's been doing that job. His name's Evan Slack. He's been an NAFB member since 1956. And yes, he still walks. He's been broadcasting longer than that, first getting started in 1952 in Springfield, Missouri, and then doing his share in the Marine Corps, then going to the University of Missouri, and he tells me it's Missouri, not Missouri. Evan began serving as the voice of the Mountain West in 1959 out in this area, enhancing and establishing farm departments at the stations at KHOW, KLZ, and KOA. And for the last 25 years, the Evan Slack Network. Many of you have heard Evan on the air and in the air, as he's a pilot. So I don't know if Evan is recording. He is back there. Ladies and gentlemen, would you help me acknowledge Evan Slack in the back of the room? Evan, you're an inspiration to us all. On behalf of Evan Slack, myself, Lindsay Hill, and the farm broadcasters around the nation, I'd like to welcome you to this meeting and to this day where we're all going to spire. We're going to conspire, respire, aspire, and hopefully we're going to make some money along the way. And with that in mind, I'll give you an idea of how the markets opened today. Corn opened steady at the near month at $6.70 1/4. Soybeans up 2 at $14.46. Fat cattle down 37 at $107.37. Feeder cattle down 95 at $124.85. Crude oil was steady at 102, and the Dow was basically steady just under 12,000. Thank you very much, folks.